La for, hit ya for none. All the time. La for, hit ya for none. Hit ya for none. For Islam stand for peace.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Inspirational Africans, the grand platform where you have grand Africans take us through their journey in different areas of specialty and line of service to humanity. Today, we have a guest that we'll have to look at, but before we do that, before we give him time to speak, to tell us about his journey, to inspire even those that are uninspired and those that are even hard to inspire, we want to have a short, quick introductory video about him.
Featuring today on Inspirational Africans is a keen, resourceful, and ambitious gentleman, William Arthur, who is the CEO and the founding headmaster of British International School, The Gambia, a school that empowers students in achieving their full potential and facilitating their growth. In 2003, Mr. Arthur completed his BSc in Biological Sciences from the University of Cape Coast, Ghana. In the year 2007, Mr. Arthur also held postgraduate certificate in education and obtained qualified teacher status, a qualification required by those wishing to teach in England. In 2010, he also did a leadership program, Leading from the Middle, designed to help improve leadership at middle level in schools. And that's not all. In 2017, from the University of London, Mr. Arthur also very successfully accomplished the National Professional Qualification for Headship. Mr. Arthur has taught and served at various positions in numerous educational institutions. A science teacher at Northfields Upper Technology College, England, Director of Science Department at Kingstop College, England, Director of Science Faculty at Erith School, England, Head of School, International School of Tucson, Arizona, Head of School, Marina International School, The Gambia, and now he sits as the founder and headmaster of British International School, The Gambia. And alongside, he is also an orientation trainer for the Cordell Hall Foundation for International Education. We are honored to have him today on Inspirational Africans.
You've served in different capacities, positions in different educational institutions the world over. Can you highlight a bit about it and how were you able to break through the challenges faced in achieving this success, this grand success?
Well, thank you. My experience in education spans over 20 years. And I started off as a teacher, chemistry, biology, and physics, general science teacher in a school in Luton and Dunstable in the UK. And then I moved up to Northampton, where I continued as a teacher and then became a head of departments for the science department in a large secondary school of 1,200 students, also in the UK. I had a short stint in the Middle East in 2010 in Oman, and then I came back to the UK where I worked as the head of science department at Erith School in Kent. That was also a school of about 2,200 students. Then I went to work for Day Waterman College in Nigeria. I went in as the vice principal and later as the co-principal for 2 years, then came back to the UK. Did some time at Quentin Kynaston School in the central London, then went on to America to be the principal of in the International School of Tucson in Arizona, where I was for 5 years, and then on to Gambia as the head of high school at Marina International School initially, and then became the headmaster at Marina International School, and now went on to be the founder and headmaster of the first British International School in the Gambia, and this is where I am now. In terms of how I broke through challenges, I mean, every day what we do comes with challenges, right? And I think if you have the passion to do what you're doing, then you can overcome any challenge. For me, this line of profession is not a job, it is a passion. I always tell people that teaching is my hobby, and I don't joke with my hobbies. So I think, you know, actually not treating it like a job, but being passionate about what I do has been very instrumental in breaking through a lot of the challenges that I've faced, or I still continue to face.
Ultimately, the catchword is passion for what you do.
Right.
And you will be able to move mountains, and that is it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. UK is dream destination for many people, especially Africans. Everybody probably, or most people probably would want to go and settle in the UK and so on. What is it that must have motivated you to, for example, leave the UK to serve in other places, and of course Gambia? And what were some of the challenges, you know, that you face in probably getting established, onboarding onto the Gambian society and fitting well and serving this country and beyond?
You know, I would say that for me, Gambia is heaven on earth. And Gambia is what you make it for yourself. There are challenges in all different countries, you know, even more than here. I actually moved directly to Gambia from the US when I finished my contract in Tucson. And at the time, I had two offers. I had the option of either going to Shanghai or Hong Kong, and then Gambia came up, and it was not a question of which one I was going to choose. It was going to be Gambia straight away. Prior to 2018 coming into the Gambia, I had been here on holiday for a week in 2012, I believe, and I just fell in love with the country. So I was really looking forward to coming to live here, So yes, for some people, they would say that the UK is a dream. It doesn't matter. I'm a British citizen as well. If you give me £20,000 a month now to go and live in the UK, I will turn you down. I will say no, thank you very much, because my quality of life here is much better than I have had in the US or in the UK. The other thing is, you know, what we do in the professions that we are, it goes very far in the Gambia. It is much more rewarding here, because, not rewarding as in monetary, because we all know that, you know, money is not here a lot, but rewarding as in the results we see in the little efforts that we put in is magnified. You know, in Gambia you have a class of students and all they want to do is learn. You're not spending 20, 30, 40 minutes dealing with behavior. You know, they want to learn, they want to soak it in, they want to give me more. So looking at the progress of the student, looking at the achievements of the students, Gambia for me is much more rewarding than any other country that I have worked in. So yes, for some people, maybe America is a dream, maybe the UK is a dream. For me personally, Gambia is a dream, and it's a dream that I probably, hopefully, do not want to wake up from. I have decided to make Gambia my home, and this is where I've ended. You know, this is it. I'm not going anywhere.
Were there any challenges?
Of course.
And how do you overcome them in settling in the Gambia, first, you know, for example, or getting your business established or serving? I understand your motivation is basically the impact that you can have in the Gambia is way more than the impact that probably you could, because you have students that are already willing to suck whatever that you have from you.
Yes.
All right. You don't have to spend a lot of time on behavioral, correctional things in the classroom before you are able to even deliver.
Yeah.
That is okay. But what is it that you have faced as an obstacle, and how did you actually mend through those obstacles, if there are?
Right. Okay. I mean, there are obstacles everywhere you go. I mean, basic things. we all know that there are obstacles in supply of electricity. Sometimes the internet is not fantastic. These are things that you need in 21st century education, right? But then you always have to have a backup plan. If the internet doesn't work, do a practical lesson. I wouldn't call them obstacles, I will call them challenges, because we solved them. We managed to solve them. And some of the challenges, sometimes the bureaucratic, procedures can be a bit challenging. You get there, but it does take a bit of a time to get there. And you overcome that by making sure that you start the process way ahead of time. Getting materials into the country sometimes is challenging, because we have to use freight forwarders, and then we have to wait for it to get into the country for us to be able to use it to deliver. That is a bit of a challenge. Finding a certain level of quality in terms of teaching personnel sometimes can be a bit challenging. They are here, we find them, but it's a bit of a challenge because there are not that many of them, and we are all the schools are all trying to fish from the same pond of the teachers that we have. So that can be a bit challenging as well. But all of these challenges, there are solutions to them, and we do solve them. But what I say is, Gambia is a wonderful country that you treat like a fantastic buffet. When you go to a buffet, you see a lot of options, and you pick and choose the options that you like, and the ones that you don't, you look over quietly and respectfully, and then you move on. So you make things work for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Absolutely.
So you make Gambia what you want to make it.
Absolutely. I mean, let me give you an example. We have just had a compliance visit from the Council of British International Schools, and we are now the first school in the history of Gambia to be deemed compliant by COBIS. And between Nigeria and Morocco, Gambia has now become the only country between Nigeria and Morocco on the western part of the continent that has a COBIS compliant school. Second country in West Africa. Small Gambia, right? And part of the compliance includes health and safety, quality of teaching and learning, governance, all sorts of things. And, we couldn't just say, oh, this is the Gambia, so safety doesn't matter. We made sure that the environment is safe for our students. We cannot say that we are in Gambia, so let's compromise. This is Africa, let's compromise. And, when the compliance officer came to visit, he was absolutely surprised that there's a school like this that exists in the Gambia. They probably came with the mentality that, health and safety, let's come and inspect and give them recommendations. We ended up having 4 commendations. Commendations are only given to schools that have exceeded part of the standards. So you can make it work if you want to make it work. Just saying that this is Gambia is not going to work. It's just an excuse, in my opinion.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You are a seasoned education executive, and you've tested many waters.
Yeah.
What is that one thing that probably Gambia as a country, our education system lacks, that you would recommend against the other systems like the Cambridge International and stuff like that?
I think whatever challenges we face in education here in Gambia is not...
And by extension, Africa.
Yes, I was going to say, it's not, the challenges are not bespoke to the Gambia. These are challenges that spans, Africa, I would say sub-Saharan Africa. And so, maybe we feel it a lot more because of our size and perhaps maybe lack of funding. But the challenges are not bespoke to the Gambia. They are, they span across the borders of the Gambia. I mean, one of the biggest issue is investment. And I'll tackle a couple of other things. Investment in education. Africa as a continent has the largest youth population in the world. And, the population of sub-Saharan Africa is made up of 70% people who are under the age of 30. So there is an opportunity for us to invest in education. I think most of it might be misplaced priorities, in various countries as to the priority they put on education. But just by merely looking at that statistic, that should tell you the proportion of money in the budget that should be invested into education. Is that happening? I don't think so. You look at, the African continent is going to need 17 million new trained and qualified teachers to achieve universal primary and secondary education by the year 2030. 17 million. We are nowhere close to that. So what schools are resorting into making it work is by taking unqualified teachers, taking untrained teachers, just to fill those gaps. Obviously, if you're putting unqualified and untrained teachers in front of a group of students, you only know what you're going to get at the end of it. So one of the major challenges is investing in teacher training. That's a major challenge here in the Gambia and by extension our beloved continent. Investing in education itself in terms of infrastructure, curriculum development, teaching and learning materials, that is another challenge that we face. One of the other biggest challenges, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? The education on the continent has not changed in 50 years. How I was taught in my primary school or my secondary school in 1994 is the same way I see when I go to schools, the same way the teachers are teaching. It hasn't evolved.
That is absolute reality. That is absolute reality. And I think that is one of the reasons why we are stagnating as a country, because knowledge is power, and
Absolutely.
knowledge over time, keeps improving, and then
Absolutely.
But it's like you're teaching one same thing, one method, one everything, and I think I really agree. That's a very valid point.
It's a fact. It has not changed in 50 years. The world has moved on 50 years. 10 years ago, we were talking about, we were talking about flying this electric, that now they're here. Now we're not even saying 10 years ago. We're saying 18 months from now we're going to have flying taxis. And they've already started them. And the world has moved on in the last 50 years. Our students have evolved. Students are learning through social media. They're learning through electronics and all of that. Education has not evolved with the times. We are still teaching as we were taught 50 years ago. How do we expect
to move?
You put the same ingredients, you put the same raw materials, and you expect to get a different product. It's not going to happen.
honestly. Right. Africa, as you put it, we've not moved on. 50 years, the world has gone, and we are still the same place. Now, how those British curriculum, for example, as against Gambian education, or generally what we have as curriculum or as education system, how do you reconcile this, and how does that inspire? Let's say you going through a British curriculum. How does that inspire the spirit of Pan-Africanism, the spirit of being an African with your identity?
Education is supposed to give an individual tools and skills, okay? And most of the time, our system is focused on chewing and regurgitating of information. And the difference is producing a group of individuals who are able to think critically for themselves and to solve problems. The difference between our system of education is absorbing information and regurgitating that information to get a piece of paper that will let you move on to the next thing. So somebody can qualify with a BSc in engineering. If you give them a battery terminal to connect, they will put black on red and red on black and short circuit it. They've learned everything. They've learned everything in the book and on paper,
yes.
right?
And they've written
they've written the exams and they've passed. So the difference is producing a set of individuals who have problem-solving skills, who can think critically when they are presented with a problem, not bringing up a group of individuals who have been presented with a set of problems and been taught how to deal with those set of problems. And if you twist that problem a little bit, they would say, oh, no, I was not taught that. Well, that is the main thing. Problem-solving skills, critical thinking, vis-a-vis chewing and regurgitating of information. That is the main difference here. And if you look at it as well, if you look at developed countries, there is now a lot of emphasis on vocational and technical education, because that is the way things are going, making things, because the blue collar, the white collar jobs, lawyers, doctors, it's just so concentrated. Everybody wants to be a lawyer. Everybody wants to be a doctor. It's so concentrated, and so there's a lot of emphasis on vocational and technical education. So people come out being self-reliant, opening your small businesses, doing that and that and that. You come out with a lawyer, or you come out as a doctor. If you don't have the funds to open your own clinic, the government hospitals are full. You're not going to get it. So here in the Gambia, technical and vocational education, I think, is an area that is overlooked a lot. It also has to do with the mindset and mentality of people. People see it as, okay, it is a sector for those who have not done well academically or in books. But not everybody is cut out to go and do A-levels or to go to university. You have people who can go into vocational school, do vocational training, and set up businesses to employ those people who have studied 7 years to become lawyers. So, that is the difference between what they've got there and what we have here. And I think, the best way to go about it, I wouldn't say there's a best way, but what will favor us is a mixture of both, because there are a lot of good things about our system. There are a lot of good things, especially in our curriculum, teaching our students our identity, things that they will not be taught in the curriculum in the UK because they want to hide it and they want to let it go away. But we are teaching our students that. We have a lot of opportunity around us, wonderful weather, wonderful fauna, wonderful flora, to be able to do these practical things that others will not do. So, the way forward, or the best way, is to take the good things, like the buffet, yeah? Take the good things about this other kind of education, the strategies, the skills, mix it together so that you produce a holistic individual that can survive here and that can also be able to compete with other students around the world.
That is it. Meaning, as you put it, not everybody is cut out for the same thing.
No.
So we've overlooked the vocational education, and of course this curriculum or this system of education is more or less a problem-solving approach to life and livelihood.
Exactly.
And this other one is more or less you depending,
Yes.
on, okay, this is what it is and that is it. Just like how the four-corner classroom is limited, the same way you are limited.
Absolutely.
Beyond the four-corner classroom, you get stuck.
Yeah.
And that is why we are not going, and that's why we get stuck as a continent, because the education system that we have makes us get stuck because it gives us only a few tools.
Yeah.
Even if those tools are flipped, we are confused.
And and we are. And a part of the teaching is also very didactic. Memorization, rote memory. We give the kids the information. Give. Lecture. Talk. And, don't give them the opportunity to to think for themselves and to solve problems. You know, when I first arrived here, it was quite interesting because 2 or 3 months or 2 or 3 weeks before a test or a paper, you see parents frantically getting private tutors into their homes to prepare their children for exams. And it's almost as if that tutor does not make it, their child is not going to pass. Why is that child so dependent
on the teacher
that if they don't come for 3 hours before the exams, they're going to fail? But that's not learning.
And these are the people we expect to be in the offices to take decisions.
Yes, that's not learning, right?
Yes, that's not it. We move straight to what would be the one advice that you would give to those that aspire to be in your position or even more, as Africans, young Africans, and even Africans in the diaspora who have a potential like yours, coming back to invest, or what should they take to be able to get to where you have already arrived?
I mean, I would just say that whatever area you have chosen to go into, go with it with all your heart and treat it and make sure that you are passionate in it. I was a very bright child, and in my family, we're like, you know, you're going to go to medical school, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. But I made my decision. I wanted to go into education. And friends and family is like, which of your teachers have you ever seen driving a Mercedes? A teacher? Yeah, in Africa. You know, but that is what I wanted. That's what I wanted to do, because I felt that is where I could make the best impact. You know, and I took upon every opportunity that I had. So in the UK, teaching, I did my QTS, I did my MPQH. And whenever I had the opportunity to go international, to go and get more experience, I did. And in the end, I said, I'm coming back. I did not originally from Ghana. I did not say I was going to go to Ghana. I could have easily gone back to Ghana because that's where I was born. I decided I was coming to the Gambia to see whatever impact I could make. There is a lot of opportunity out there, but if we do have the opportunity to come and make a difference, I would say that we should, because Gambia needs it, this continent needs it. One of the pieces of advice, and this is purely personal, in terms of going through systems in different countries and looking at sometimes some of the opportunities that my brothers and sisters as Africans miss, is the blame, is, blaming others for your shortcomings and not taking responsibility for yourself. I have friends who would immediately blame, it's racism and this is that, this is that. Of course, we all, we understand that it is there, we understand that it happens. I never made it. When somebody said race, I said, racy what? Where? Because my mind is not even on it. I have what my mind is on, and I'm going for it. It doesn't matter. You could be black, yellow, green, blue. You can try and stop me. You won't. Because the momentum at which I am going and moving.
So hefty that you cannot block.
It's only the supreme being that can stop me. Nobody in this flesh can do anything to stop me. And whenever I came across a challenge or a difficulty, I never blamed anybody around me. I reflected, I looked at what I could have done better. I took a left turn here. What will happen if I go back and take a right turn? And that's what we do. Go for it. Have the ability to reflect. Do not blame everybody, because as soon as you blame somebody for your own shortcomings, as soon as you look at everything else apart from yourself, you're stuck. That's it. You are stuck. It means you've lost the ability to reflect, and it is only through reflection that we can analyze what we've done and be able to figure out how we can move forward. That's my advice.
Thank you for this great inspirational story. And the advice, I believe, is not only passional, it will be very beneficial to almost everybody, because this is exactly what it is. We have to take responsibility and we move it. That is it for the Inspirational Africa episode this time around. Our guest was William Arthur, the founding headmaster of British International School, Gambia. He has shared his story, and I am of the view that it has and it will inspire a lot of viewers, Africans and even non-Africans, as the program is centered around getting grand Africans, inspirational Africans, share their journey, their stories, so that those of us watching, those of us yet to be in their positions and aspire to be in their positions, would learn and relearn and unlearn to make sure we also get headed to where they are. Thank you for your time with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
La for, hetefonam, alata, la for, hetefonam, for Islam stand for peace.